Hey there, it's Josh here, and welcome back to the channel Songwriting Solutions. So, for today's video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be talking you through some of my personal favorite chords that you can use, and I'm going to be focusing mostly on 4-note chords. So, what I mean by that is most chords tend to have 3 notes, so all the major and minor chords contain the first, the third or the flat third, and the fifth note of the scales that they come from. So I'm going to be talking about 4-note chords where you add an extra note on to add an extra layer, an extra element of richness to the harmony that you're creating. And these are chords that you can use pretty much in any genre, in any song that you want to, just to add a little bit of extra interest, a little bit of extra flair to your songwriting. And, this is something that applies to all instruments. I'm going to be using guitar today, but this is for all instruments and is something that you can use as well. So I'm just going to be talking you through some of these chords and the theory behind them so that you can use them straight away in your next songs. So let's dive right in. So the first type of chord I'm going to be talking about are known as add chords or add 9, 11 or 13 chords. So these are some of my personal favorites because I think they sound really beautiful, really rich sounding chords as well, and also very emotive chords. And the typical thing is to use a major chord and then you add what they call either the 9th note or the 11th or the 13th note on top of that. So I'll just give you an idea of what they sound like, and then I'll talk you through a little bit of how you can use them and how these chords work. So here's a D add 9 chord. Here's an E add 9 chord. An A add 9. G add 9. So you can hear immediately that they're very beautiful, very emotive sounding chords. That's a B minor 7 chord. I will talk about that in a moment. But these types of chords are really quite simple to put together. So you basically start off with a simple major chord. So let's just say D major here. And then when it says you're adding, for example, the add 9, so you're adding the 9th note, that actually means you're adding the 2nd note of the scale. So the reason that they're written like that is to stop them getting confused with suspended chords, so things like sus2 chords, sus4 chords, and things like that. So instead of writing, for example, like add 2 or add 4, they say add 9 for the 2nd note, add 11 for the 4th, and add 13 for the 6th. And it's very easy to work that out. You literally just count up the scale. So I'll give you an example counting up the major scale, which has got 7 notes. So you go from 7 and then 8, 9, which is the 2nd, 10, 11, which is the 4th, and then 12, 13, which is the 6th. So that's basically how it works. So you are adding on the 2nd note of the scale to the D chord. So that would create this chord here. And it's the same for all of the add 9 chords. Slight mistake there. So in any particular chord progression, you could throw, one of those chords in pretty much whenever you wanted to. So let's just say you're playing a chord in the key of G. So it might just have a simple G chord. An E minor. And then you might go to a D add 9. So that's just one way that you can use them. A really famous song that uses these types of chords as well is Every Breath You Take by The Police. So the majority of that is things like, add 9 chords essentially, and just played them, arpeggiated in a riff. So, that's an example of how you can use them practically as well. So let's talk about another one of my personal favorite chords, which is the -7 chord. So a -7 chord is another really simple one to put together. And you just start off with a basic minor chord, and then you just add in the 7th note of the scale as well, the 7th note of the minor scale, that is. So I'll give you an example of what one could sound like. So this is a straight A minor chord. And then you add in the 7th note along with all the other notes as well. And once again, very emotive, very rich sounding, also a bit jazzy as well. These are very much, jazz style chords, very, very common in that style of music. And once again, there's so many different ways that you can use them. Once again, you can just throw them into pretty much any chord progression that you're working with, just to add a little bit of extra flair. I'll just give you an example of what they can sound like all together. So I'll play you a simple A minor to D minor to E minor chord progression here, so you can get an idea of what they sound like. And another chord that I just want to throw into the mix here is a major 7 chord. So this is basically the major version of those -7 chords I was just showing you there. So you start off with a basic major chord. Let's go with an A major, just to keep things simple. And then pretty much the same rule as before, you add in the 7th note of the scale, but because it's going to be major and it's going to be the major scale that it's coming from, you literally just flatten the octave by a semitone, and then you get this sound. And these are, much kind of like lighter sounding chords. They're more like flowery sounding chords. Once again, very jazzy sound as well. But they do have that kind of like more floaty kind of sound to them. And, so many different ways that they have been used in many different songs, and how you can use them as well. Once again, you can just throw them into pretty much any chord progression to add some extra spice to it. But I'll just give you an idea of what you can do with them and what they sound like. So I hope that's given you some ideas on how you can use those types of chords in your own chord progressions and in your own songs. If you have any questions about it, then just leave a comment below and I will get back to you. And just to let you know, if you would like more help with your own songwriting, then I have got an ebook, a free ebook that I want to give to you. And if you just head into the description below, you should see a link to an ebook which is called the 7 Steps to Writing Your Next Killer Song. And you can go and download that for completely free. So go and grab the ebook, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.